Trevor Lawrence! Man, was he once labeled as a generational prospect at the quarterback position. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the potential rise of Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last season, Trevor Lawrence emerged into a potential superstar at the quarterback position as the Jaguars won the AFC South Division title and even won a playoff game. With the Jaguars retaining their core, it is expected that they will end up being potential Super Bowl contenders this season. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. How will Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars perform this season? And I think the answer to this question is relatively simple. They're going to do very well this year. And I've heard a lot of people talk about contenders in the AFC. I've heard a lot of different answers for who could contend for the Super Bowl in there. But one team that I haven't heard nearly enough is the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people, they talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. They talk about the Buffalo Bills. They talk about the New York Jets. They even talk about some of the other dark horse contenders like the LA Chargers. But one team that almost nobody has brought up is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's really a shame because the Jaguars played like an elite football team late in December last season. They even beat the Chargers in a playoff game. They even had Trevor Lawrence come back from down 27 points. When you talk about Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how this guy has become so underrated in the NFL, because when he was coming out of college, people was talking about him as the next Peyton Manning, as the next John Elway. They were labeling him a generational talent. Ever since he's been in the NFL, a lot of people seem to forget that Trevor Lawrence exists because they just remember, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he had a bad rookie year under Urban Meyer, who is possibly the worst head coach in the history of the NFL. And they think, oh, okay, Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he sucked this rookie year. Let's forget about Trevor Lawrence. Let's go ahead and hype somebody else up. But Trevor Lawrence has actually had a very good career. For starters, Trevor Lawrence has never missed an entire game. Under the 17-game schedule, Trevor Lawrence has played every single game, not once, but twice. That's actually really good to do. Not too many quarterbacks have done that. In fact, just last season, only 8 quarterbacks started all 17 games last year. They were Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Geno Smith, Trevor Lawrence himself, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. Now, if you're in a category with those guys, that means that you're going to be pretty good. And Trevor Lawrence showed that he is going to be very durable in the NFL. You're talking about a 6'6" guy, 220 pounds. He's got a lot of muscle in him, and he's got a cannon for an arm. And he's also very accurate with the football. When you look at Trevor Lawrence, you think of him as the guy that has the mind of Peyton Manning and the arm of Aaron Rodgers, and he can even scramble a little bit. Now, look, do I think he can scramble on the level of a Lamar Jackson? No, but Trevor Lawrence can very much scramble outside the pocket. He's not afraid to make throws outside the pocket. He's not afraid to throw on the run. And when you look at this Jacksonville Jaguars team, they are surprisingly deep. Nobody has brought them up, but they got Travis Etienne. He's a potential superstar running back. They've got Christian Kirk. They've got Calvin Ridley. They've got Zay Jones at the wide receivers position. And then they got Evan Engram at the tight end position. For some reason, a lot of people seem to forget that Evan Engram exists, because when I look at Evan Ingram's game, I think of him as a top 10 tight end in the NFL. He might even be a top 5 tight end. That's how good I value Evan Ingram's game. I hear a lot of hype from Travis Kelce and George Kittle and Darren Waller as the best tight ends in football, and I'm not saying that those guys aren't great at football, but what I am saying is Evan Engram belongs in that category. Evan Engram can basically play the tight end position like a wide receiver, and with Doug Pederson being an elite football head coach, I think he's going to get the most out of this Jacksonville Jaguars team. Remember, in year 2 of Doug Pederson in Philadelphia, what did he do? He turned Carson Wentz into an MVP candidate. Now, Carson Wentz is a bum, for an example. He's nothing more than a Baker Mayfield that is 6'5", 237 pounds. He's basically Baker Mayfield, but bigger. Doug Pederson got that man to play MVP level football. He even got Nick Foles to win a Super Bowl. Nick Foles, by the way, is a career backup who, outside of a couple of years in the NFL, was garbage when he played on the football field. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, is a generational prospect that has shown signs of superstardom. Trevor Lawrence, in just his second season of professional football, has become a top 8 quarterback in the NFL. You can't give me 8 quarterbacks that are better than Trevor Lawrence, and that's probably playing it conservative, because I think by the end of the year, we're going to be talking about Trevor Lawrence as a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Trevor Lawrence has the arm, he has the legs, he's got a cannon for an arm, he's got the accuracy, he's got a smart football mind. I think the biggest thing for Trevor Lawrence is he's got to play with confidence, and he's got to be decisive with the football. If he can be decisive with the football at all times and play with extreme confidence, he is going to be an awesome football player at the Professional Football League level, and I think he's going to be an MVP candidate. A lot of people have talked about Justin Herbert as an elite football player. They've talked about Jalen Hurts as an elite football player. They've talked about Patrick Mahomes as an elite football player, and they've even mentioned Joe Burrow's name here and there as an elite football player. And I've even even heard some people talk about how Lamar Jackson can absolutely play at a high level, but I think Trevor Lawrence belongs in that category as well. Trevor Lawrence is going to be an elite quarterback one day. If he's not already an elite quarterback now, he definitely will be by the end of this year, because this Jaguars team is really good at the receiving position. They've got running backs, they've got tight ends, their defense is solid, they're going to get better, and they've got an elite head coach, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be operating under extreme efficiency. I would not be surprised if Trevor Lawrence throws for more than 35 touchdown passes this year, because that's how good I value Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, for a stretch of time last year, looked like the best football player on the planet. There's a reason why people were even listing him as an MVP candidate, even when the Jacksonville Jaguars had a 3-7 record, even when the Jacksonville Jaguars season looked like it was over in the toilet. What did the Jacksonville Jaguars do in their last 7 games? They went 6-1, they made a huge run, and they ended up winning the AFC South division. And speaking of the AFC South division, I'm looking at them right now and I'm thinking, man, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they got an easy division that they're in, because they got the Tennessee Titans in that division. They've got nobody outside Derrick Henry, and they washed up DeAndre Hopkins. And then they got the Indianapolis Colts. They're in rebuilding mode. I like Anthony Richardson a lot, but anybody that expects Anthony Richardson to be a win-now quarterback in year 1 has probably got to be drug tested. And then, of course, there's the Houston Texans. Not much needs to be said about them because of the fact that they are dysfunctional. Although I did like their pick, CJ Stroud. I do think CJ Stroud could make the Houston Texans competitive in the future, although not right away. So when you talk about the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to me, are the clear-cut favorites in that division, and it's not even close. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars locked up the division by Thanksgiving. That's how good the Jacksonville Jaguars are compared to the rest of the AFC South. Now, as far as how they compete against the AFC, I like their chances in there too, because of the fact that they have an easy division. That means that they're going to be able to win their divisional games, and that means that they're going to have a higher seed, since not everybody's going to be beating up on each other throughout the division. A lot of people have listed the Cincinnati Bengals as the best team in the AFC or the second best team, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to end up with a better record than the Cincinnati Bengals, because of the fact that the Jaguars have an easier schedule, because of the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to emerge as a superstar quarterback, and because of the fact how the Jacksonville Jaguars are more hungry to prove themselves that they belong in that elite tier in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying the Cincinnati Bengals aren't going to be a good football team. Believe me, they're going to be a good football team this year, but I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. In fact, I would take the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Buffalo Bills. I would take them over the Green Bay Packers. I would take them over the Baltimore Ravens. I would take them over the Los Angeles Chargers. I would take the Jacksonville Jaguars over anybody in the AFC with the exception of the Kansas City Chiefs. But you know why I can't do that for the Kansas City Chiefs? Because the Kansas City Chiefs have a generational talent at the quarterback position. They have a generational head coach in Andy Reid, and that Chiefs roster is looking pretty stacked. Yeah, they lost some pieces in free agency, but as long as they got Patrick Mahomes, they're still going to be great, because Patrick Mahomes is the system in Kansas City. It's that simple. And Trevor Lawrence, I got this to say for him. I got a prediction to go ahead and make. I'm going to go ahead and predict that Trevor Lawrence is going to win the MVP award this year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have 36 touchdowns. He's going to have 9 interceptions. He's going to complete over 70% of his passes, and he's going to throw for over 4,800 yards. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to ball out this year, and he's going to be playing with a lot of heart, and he's going to be showing off the talent that he once had coming into the draft, and he's going to remind everybody for why he was considered to be a generational talent. And Trevor Lawrence is going to show off some wheels as well. He'll even run for a touchdown as well. Overall, though, where do I have the Jacksonville Jaguars appearing? I got them getting the number 2 seed in the AFC this season. I got them going to an AFC Championship game this year. Yes, that means the AFC Championship matchup that I got this year is going to be Jaguars at Chiefs. Ultimately, though, I don't see them going to the Super Bowl just because of the fact that Patrick Mahomes is an all-time great player, and I don't see Trevor Lawrence being able to overcome Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But I will say that Trevor Lawrence will end up winning the MVP award, because he's going to ball out and he's going to put up great stats, and he's going to lead the Jacksonville Jaguars to 14 wins. I got the Jaguars going 14-3 this season with Trevor Lawrence playing MVP level football. I got Trevor Lawrence becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We might be talking about Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in football. Then we might be talking about Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence tied for the second best quarterback in football. That's how high I am on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to live up to the hype, and he's going to make sure that he's going to wake everybody up, and that he's going to remind everybody that he was a generational prospect, and that he is going to back it up with his play on the football field. I am hyped up to see Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars play. I believe they are insanely underrated as a team, and I think Trevor Lawrence has become insanely underrated as quarterback as well. Some people are even saying that Dak Prescott is better than Trevor Lawrence, which is just absolutely ridiculous to me. Trevor Lawrence is a superstar, and everybody better be noticing that. So that is why Trevor Lawrence will end up winning the MVP award, as the Jaguars will end up losing in the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs this season. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin_Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin_Tran and Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin_Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.